Hey there, guys. How is it going tonight? Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see behind me. I don't want to mess with this camera too much, but I've got, where is it? I don't think you can see all my stuff back there. I'm I'm prepared to camp out here at the Tall 12 in Mount Auburn as long as I need to. Big storm. Big storm on top of us tonight. If you love snow, this is the kind of storm you have been dreaming about. If you hate snow, this is the kind of storm you've had nightmares about. So let me preface it like that. But this is going to be a biggie. And I'll caution you, don't focus on, snow amounts. That's fun to talk about. Impacts are going to be really, really big no matter what. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to show you at first here a traffic cam tonight. And this is I-71 north of Victory Parkway tonight. Get up toward the Xavier exit there. And you can see there's a little dusting on the interstate tonight. It's been really light snow that's been coming down so far. And that's what we anticipate through the early part of the evening. It looks like in the next couple of hours, it's going to start to get a little heavier. And then after midnight is when it really begins to pick up. So, if you joined me yesterday, I said, hey, if you don't mind driving in a little snow, go out, have dinner with the family, go do something, maybe close to home, if you don't mind it, because it's not going to be horrible in the evening. Looks like ODOT's zooming in. They've got control of the cameras, not me, not this camera at least. So there's a little snow on the roads. It's just gonna kind of go downhill as the night wears on. Kind of a slow downhill tonight. So let's talk about what is coming our way. And if you joined me yesterday, this is one of my favorite graphics because it makes me think of Tim Hedrick. He always used a graphic like this. Is it a nuisance? Is it a shoveler? In this case, this is a paralyzer. This is going to shut things down. This is a big one. This could potentially be historic. It might end up on this list. Tomorrow's date, January 25th, 2026, may be on this list before all is said and done. These are the biggest official snowfalls in Cincinnati history. Now, you got to keep in mind this is at the official climate site, wherever it was, whenever it was. In the 90s, that was at CVG. So February 4th, 1998, the biggest 24-hour snow ever, 11.8 inches. In 96, on January 7th, 11.6. 1917 had an 11-incher. 1910 had one just under 11. And March 22nd, 1968, one under 10. So those are 24-hour snows at the official climate site. You might say, nope, I remember one. I had more at my house back in 2000. It was, well, yeah, but your house isn't the official climate site, so we got to keep track of it somehow. So what I'm trying to say is big snows like this are rare for the Ohio Valley. They don't come along every year, but in 96 and 98, you would have thought that, hey, is this the new normal? Because we had a couple 11-plus inchers. So this one could rival those. All right, there's a look at radar tonight. It is 8:23 if you're joining us. If you're watching it later, 8:23 Saturday evening. We've got some light snow coming down just about everywhere. There's some pockets of moderate snow, maybe that there in Butler and Warren County now. Maybe a few pockets across northern Kentucky where you see some of the darker blue shadings. But let's look west and see what's coming. See that stuff in Missouri, southern Missouri, and Illinois near Paducah and Kentucky. That's the heavier banding that's going to begin to move our way tonight. And then beyond that, look at the stuff down there in Oklahoma, Arkansas, even heavier stuff. Some freezing rain, too, around Dallas. There's going to be some sleet, ice pellets, too, that may clip our area before all is said and done here. And you just get the feel of the massive size of this thing. So you got heavy snow going right now in places like New Mexico, and ultimately it's going to run up through Maine. So the winter storm warnings tonight They stretch from border to border, from the U.S.-Mexico border all the way to the U.S.-Canadian border tonight. Just a massive monster storm, a snow lover's dream. But it's a nightmare in the deep south because they're dealing with ice down there. And, some areas could see an inch of ice. I mean, just catastrophic to the power grid down there. There's the snow for us picking up overnight into tomorrow morning. We could see some very heavy snow across the tri-state into tomorrow morning. Some of that pink, some of that sleet, ice pellets may get into our southeast counties. Maybe a glaze of freezing rain in the far southeast. But it's mainly snow, and it's heavy through the morning, moderate into the afternoon. It gets lighter, though, quickly by the evening, then moves out tomorrow night. So that's kind of the gist of it. And the heavy snow, I mean, it's coming right up over the tri-state, so you can see how that is going to track. Most of that ice stays south of us. We might get a little tiny bit in our southeast counties, but the big icing problems stay well to our south. Winter storm warning goes until noon Monday, so that's when the impacts will. The impacts will go beyond that in a lot of areas too, to be honest. So tonight, snow increasing. It's going to get heavier after midnight. Around Metro Cincinnati, 5 to 7 inches by morning. Sunday, heavy snow in the morning. It stays moderate through the early afternoon, gets lighter by late afternoon. Another 5 to 8 inches plus. Could be even more than that if some of this banding sets up the way the high-resolution models show. And then snow tapers in the evening around the 275 loop. A conservative 10 to 14 inches. Travel tough. That's probably an understatement. Tough at best. In some areas, if you got a front-wheel drive tiny car, you don't want to do it. Don't want to do it at all. All-wheel drive. And even then, you got to watch out for other people. I wouldn't want to do it. That's why I'm camping out here. No way I was going to try to get back here tomorrow. Tonight, I know I can get home. It wouldn't be a big deal later tonight, but getting back here tomorrow, not going to happen. All right, so here we are. We'll run things out. Notice how the blues get darker after 10 o'clock tonight, and then we start to see some of those even darker blues after midnight. That's the heavier banding setting up. And then there's the real heavy stuff coming tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Could we see a flash of lightning, a rumble of thunder? Could there be thunder snow? Can't rule it out. There's not a real strong signal for that, but I've seen it in storms like this, man. It can happen. Watching that pink down there to the southeast, this model shows it staying out of our viewing area. I'm skeptical of that. I think some of that sleet may make it up into places like Mount Olivet, Maysville, Peebles, before I'll send up maybe southern Highland County, perhaps. And then in the far southeast Adams County, maybe eastern Mason County, maybe we get a little glaze of freezing rain, that liquid that falls and glazes things on top of the snow and sleet. But it shouldn't make much of a big difference. It may lower the snowfall totals. You can see the hint of that in this model, though, by late Sunday morning. So Robertson, Mason, Adams, maybe into Brown County even, maybe up into southern Highland County, we get some ice. And by ice, I mean sleet, the ice pellets, and then maybe a little glaze of freezing rain. I don't think it's going to be enough to cause power issues or anything like that. And then by late afternoon, still some moderate snow over Cincinnati, but it starts to taper off after that, quickly moving out tomorrow evening. So by this time tomorrow evening, the snow's winding out, at least the accumulating snow. There could be some flakes that linger, though. Modeling shows maybe a few more flurries fly until after midnight. And then by Monday morning, we're clearing out. Look at those temperatures. We're talking single digits Monday morning, and then the wind chills will be 5 to 10 below zero. So they've got a cold weather advisory out for that. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay, let's talk about Cincinnati in particular. If you're watching from around the 275 loop, 100% chance at more than 4 inches, 100% chance at a half foot or more than a half foot, 90% chance of 8 plus. At 10 plus, I'm giving it a 60% chance now. A foot plus, 50-50 on that. And then for the really big totals, 14 plus, there's a chance of that. Abso-frickin-lutely, there's a chance. So the foot plus amounts could indeed happen for Cincinnati. So down to the southeast where the purple is, where I've got it hashed there, we're thinking maybe we come in with just a little less snow because we get some sleet and maybe a tiny bit of freezing rain down there. But, I mean, that's splitting hairs. I mean, this whole map is splitting hairs. I mean, the difference between, 6 inches and 10 inches and 12 plus inches, it's going to be bad either way you look at it. I think the best chance of seeing over a foot, maybe west of 71, based on the latest high-res data. We're getting some more in right now, so I'm going to check that again, and, we'll update this. We're now in nowcasting mode, which means instead of forecast ahead of time, we're nowcasting. We're looking at what's going on now. We're looking at the trends right now and looking at a really short-term forecast here. I think a lot of us are looking at from a little less than a foot to a little more than a foot. Some areas back west of 71 could be way more than a foot if some of the modeling holds true tonight that I'm seeing. We got some modeling coming in with 1.5 feet in those areas. And that might be an overestimate based on the type of algorithm they're using to forecast the snow for those maps. But, I mean, it's huge. And I did a little less between, like, Maysville and Cincinnati, like the Williamstown to Georgetown to Hillsborough corridor, 8 to 12. Watching southern Highland County, though, some of those lesser amounts may come up into southern Highland. If we get that warmer nose aloft that comes in that transitions that snow to sleet. I will tell you this. Seldom are these storms, big storms, all snow in the Ohio Valley. Usually there are ice pellets mixed in, usually sleet, and then the freezing rain, the liquid rain that falls and coats things. Usually you have some of that. So based on history and the way the models underestimate that warm air or don't see it, they're kind of blind to it, that's why I'm going kind of conservative here on, these totals are kind of conservative. They really are. And that's why, because I'm not quite sure, where that warm nose is going to come in and how far it's going to make it, especially in our southeast county. So I've gone but it's not going to matter. I mean, don't focus on amounts, and everybody likes to talk about amounts, and that's the big thing everyone wants to know, but it's not going to matter at the end of the day. The impacts are major to extreme. I decided to go ahead and paint extreme impacts west of 71 there. So for southeast Indiana, northwest Hamilton, Butler, Warren. Again, this is splitting hairs, though. I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Just kind of splitting hairs. There's your road conditions forecast. Red Sunday, red most of Monday, and then maybe better Tuesday and Wednesday. But there's some areas that rural areas, forget about it. I mean, we're gonna have schools out in Kentucky, probably parts of Kentucky all of next week with this thing. Even if parts of Kentucky get those lower snowfall totals. And then we've got the cold weather advisory. This goes from midnight tomorrow night, really midnight Monday technically, through 6 o'clock on Monday afternoon. Wind chills of 5 to 10 below zero. And then an extreme cold watch beyond that. So that starts at 6 Monday, goes through noon Tuesday. Gets even colder. Wind chills as low as 15 below, maybe colder during that time period. So, yeah, guys, there's a lot to talk about. A whole lot to talk about. Let me come back to my timeline graphic here now, just to show you that. So, again, if you're just hopping on, if you're just seeing this live stream, snow will be increasing throughout the rest of the night, picking up especially in the next couple of hours or so, and then heavier after midnight. The estimate is 5 to 7 by morning. Heavy snow tomorrow morning. We could get those snowfall rates of over an inch per hour. I mean, that's, you know what? If you're out, if you're one of the snow plow drivers, God bless you for doing that and trying to help us. But once coming down to over an inch an hour, it's hard to keep those roads like passable. It really is, especially if that continues for hours on end, which it looks like it will. We'll go from heavy in the morning to eventually moderate snow by early to mid-afternoon to lighter snow late afternoon, then tapers off in the evening. Another 5 to 8 plus, depending on location there. and then it tapers in the evening again, 10 to 14. The call around the metro. I will say you're going to see higher numbers elsewhere. You're going to see other stations that go even higher. You're going to see other people online that are sharing model maps that show way more snow. And, you know, the reason I've gone lower is not because I'm a snow Grinch, but it's because I'm worried about that warm air aloft that the models sometimes can't see. So, you know, if it looks like it's going to be more, I'll certainly up my forecast here because I'm monitoring things all the time. But it's not going to matter to impacts really much at all. Let's show you the timeline again with the modeling. This is the high-resolution modeling. Snow's going to pick up the next couple of hours. After midnight, you start to see those heavier bands moving through into early Sunday morning. Heavy banding setting up over the area. We're going to watch that pink, see how far it creeps up into our area. There's some heavy snow at 8 o'clock. There's the pink into the southeast. It may impact Robertson, Bracken, Mason, Brown, definitely Adams, maybe up into Southern Highland. That is sleet, ice pellets, maybe a glaze of freezing rain there. And then moderate snow through the afternoon, gets lighter late afternoon, and then it's out of here by this time tomorrow evening with maybe a few flurries sliding through on the tail end there. Anything else after 8 o'clock tomorrow night's just minor on top of what's already occurred. And then we deal with the bitter cold. I didn't even show you guys the wind chill maps. I didn't load those in here. Those wind chill maps are brutal. And again, slam dunk for more than 4 and more than 6. Looks like a slam dunk for more than 8. And even likely for more than 10. At the 12 plus, I'm kind of sitting on the 50-50 line and then lowering the chances beyond that. But yeah, there's a chance someone gets over a foot. There's a chance someone goes over 14. If this thing sets up right and the banding occurs just right, boy, I mean, you could have some amounts that go well over 14 inches if this thing sets up right. And, you know, where is that most likely going to be based on the latest high-resolution modeling to the northwest is where it's kind of favored now. So we'll see. That could change. Earlier today, the modeling kind of had it right over the 275 loop. So, you know, that's splitting hairs again. So, yeah, major snow, paralyzing snow for the area. If you're a snow lover, this is your moment. Boy, I would be a snow lover right now if I didn't have to go anywhere and do anything, and if I were at home and I could camp out at home and maybe, like my wife, you could work from home. Oh, my goodness. I would have the biggest snow party right now. It would be fun. If you got to go somewhere, though, this is a nightmare. If you got to go play, yeah, I mean, it really is. So that's why I'm camped out here. I'll be here tonight, keeping an eye on things. We've got a whole team of people out. They're not driving around. They're going to be stationed and staying put through this thing, and you know, staying safe, and kind of giving you the conditions as we go through it. And we're going to be on the air early tomorrow morning doing a special edition of Good Morning Cincinnati. So tomorrow morning, I want you to join us if you can, from 6 to 9 a.m. We're going to be on Local 12. And Tara and Paul are going to be here. Hopefully they make it in. If not, you might see me tomorrow morning. I might be in my PJs, but you might see me tomorrow morning. But yeah, this is the kind of storm that when I was a little kid, I would dream about. I would dream about this. In fact, that's one of the reasons I got into weather when I was a kid, because I wanted to get out of school for snow. And I grew up out in Claremont County, went to Brantner Elementary, which is no longer there. And I used to keep a weather map under my bed. And I'd draw a map of the United States, and I would have my fronts and my lows and my highs and watch the Weather Channel like crazy. And I remember vividly one night my mom's like, "Hey, you got to get to bed. John, it's time to get to bed. You got school in the morning." I said, "Mom, When I got to have school in the morning. It's just like, yeah, you are. I just saw the weather. It's only like an inch or two. That's usually not enough to get you out of school. And I said, no, Mom. And I got out my map and I said, look, we got this low coming up from Texas. It was a similar setup to this. It wasn't exactly the same, though. Got this low coming up from Texas, and it's going to push moisture our way, and it's going to hit this cold air, and bam, we're going to get snow. It's going to be like 6 inches, Mom, I guarantee. And, of course, she's like, nope, you got to go to bed. Go to bed. Okay, so I was excited, but I went to bed. Woke up the next morning, ran over to look out the window, and it was just snowing like crazy. And we did end up, I think, with several inches. School was out that day, and it was one of the greatest days of my life, sledding with my friends all day long. So this is the kind of storm you dream of if you're a kid. If you're a parent and you got to work next week and you're counting on the kids being in school, this is one that is a big pain in the you-know-what, because kids are probably going to be out of school for a while, depending on locations and school districts. And, and the hills of Kentucky with all those hills and back roads, there's schools that'll probably be out much, if not all, of next week. Elsewhere, it's just going to depend. I think Monday and Tuesday, you're going to see a lot of schools. Not Monday, everybody. Tuesday, still, I think a lot are out. Maybe we get them back Wednesday in some areas. But, again, depends on the snow removal. And this is going to push our poor road crews. Those men and women, God bless them. They're going to be working continuous and working so hard. Stay out of their way. This is going to push them to the limit municipalities around here on what we're capable of doing. I mean, this is the Super Bowl for the snowplow and salt truck drivers. The Super Bowl right here doesn't get any bigger. I mean, this is it right here, my friends. So anyway, guys, boy, I appreciate all you hopping on. I mean, I see on my Facebook, just on my Facebook alone, we're rocking over 600 people. And, boy, on Local 12, we've got less. We've got like 265 people. We're, of course, on the YouTube right now as well. Another question somebody asked me, John, is this going to be a light, fluffy, powdery snow, or is it going to be a wet snow? And my answer to that question is it's mostly going to be the fluffy, light snow, mostly. Now, there's a time period tomorrow morning, early tomorrow, where we may get into some wetter snow, not wet snow, but a little lower of a ratio of a snow to water ratio. But then as the day goes on, it's really powdery, and that's the stuff that really piles up. So that's the big wild card tomorrow afternoon on how much additional snow we get in the afternoon as this thing winds up and moves off to the east. So that's why I think some areas could easily go over a foot. And again, these numbers you're looking at, if I said it once, I'll say it twice. You're going to see bigger numbers elsewhere. Other people are going to put out bigger numbers, and I'm notoriously conservative on my snowfall forecasting. I'm cautious because of that warm air that can come in above our heads and change stuff to sleet. And I can't tell you how many times as a forecaster I've been burned by that. And there have been angry mobs outside the station with pitchforks coming after me because I thought we'd have a lot of snow, and we had a period of several hours of sleet. And if you transition the snow to sleet and ice pellets, then you don't get the accumulation. You get the same amount of moisture and the same amount of frozen precipitation, but it compacts everything down, crushes everything down. And with that compaction, you just don't measure the bigger totals. So that's always a nightmare of mine. And in purple there, where the hash is, that's where I think sleet can mix in. Could have come farther north and west than that. It's possible. None of the modeling necessarily shows it, but it's possible. So that's why I'm really conservative in the numbers that I put out. You'll see bigger numbers elsewhere, and it could be right. Being quite honest with you, but I'm very conservative with the numbers that I put out here. But like I said, don't focus on the numbers. It's not going to matter one bit at all with this thing. All right, kids, and here's the other thing I wonder. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for hanging on with me, because I'm just kind of rambling right now. So you 601 people that are on Facebook with me, I love you. I love you guys. Even you guys that say mean things. Most of you don't, though. Most of you are cool. You guys that say mean things, I love you too. But hearing me ramble right now, I wonder how many future meteorologists this storm is going to create. Because it was the big ones when I was a kid that got me all excited about weather. I was afraid of storms too. And that's the other reason I got excited about weather. But I just wonder how many meteorologists there are going to be made from this storm. One other note. I want to send a special hello out tonight to Phil Jones. If you guys know Phil Jones, Phil sent me a really long email the other day. Phil is a native of Oxford. He's worked at CVG, de-icing planes, doing baggage, like making sure your planes go and making sure your flights are safe. And, you know, Phil hurt himself. He sent me he's hurt his arm, and he sent me a long email, and it was a really wonderful email about, hey, I've watched you for years. I've seen you over the years in Local 12. You know, thanks for what you're doing, and just hang in there. I know it's going to be kind of a long stretch for you. That email that Phil sent just made my week. It's been a rough week. I had, you know, a couple of really long days at work on Tuesday and Wednesday because I had some other stuff going on here, and I came in the morning and stayed till after midnight and before this thing even happened. And so now I'm here all weekend. I'm going to sleep here, and that's cool. This is what I love to do. But boy, I'll tell you, in the age of social media, you know, we get so much just negativity and horrible comments. And, you know, if you're contacting me now, and if you're sending me messages on Facebook and stuff, and you're commenting on posts and stuff, I appreciate you. I can't get back to all of it. And I will be quite honest with you. I try to avoid the comments during huge weather events like this, just for my own self-preservation, because there's so many people that say just rotten things a lot of times. So for the people that don't, like Phil, who send nice stuff and say nice things, I really appreciate you guys. Okay? Really appreciate you guys. I've, all day long, I've only had a donut to eat today. All day, since I woke up this morning. So I'm going to go eat dinner now. And also, I've got to figure out where I'm going to sleep tonight at the station. I've got an idea of where that might be. And I had to get permission from a good buddy of mine. So maybe coming up later on tonight, I'll do a Facebook Live from my makeshift bedroom on where I'm going to be tonight. But until then, I'm going to go grab some food. I am going to be live again on Star 64 at 10 o'clock on the old TV. And live again on Local 12 at 11. I'm going to try to come back on here to do another weather update as we look at more data and make finer adjustments to splitting hairs here, as I call it, with the data tonight. But I'll try to get back on again a little later, but definitely at 10 on Star 64, 11 on Local 12. And we'll update things. I mean, we're constantly updating things and want to give you the most accurate information that we can give you. But anyway, you look at it, paralyzing storm here for the greater Cincinnati area with this much snow. I mean, this is just, you know, not even down to the southeast where we might get sleet contamination. I mean, still, you know, greater than 6 inches that's a big deal down there too. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna hop off here because my stomach's growling, and I think my wife packed me some tacos. God bless you, Jen. I think she packed me some tacos. So I think that's what I've got to eat tonight. But anyway, love you guys. Take care. Stay safe. And we'll continue to keep you updated here from our studios in Mount Auburn. All right, guys. Take care.